Hello, in this video we are going to discuss how to deal with a triple net lease on a commercial property as a prospective tenant. This is Dave at titlesearch.com and AFX Title. If you're a tenant looking at a triple net lease, many property owners will want to use this format of a lease to ensure that their return on investment stays the same. And as their variable costs go up and down, they can account for that with the tenants. And variable costs may often include things like taxes, insurance, and other fees that change throughout the years of that lease. It's usually an important factor when the lease has a longer term, 3, 4, 5 years, and that's when triple net leases are more important. If you're a tenant and you're going to get into a triple net lease, be sure to set yourself up for success. Make sure that the terms of that lease match what your expectations are as an industry or a company or as an individual, so that you don't run into problems later with unexpected expenses. Remember that the setting you up for success as a tenant benefits the building owner too, because if you make the lease terms match your needs, then the lease will be comfortable for both the renter and the landlord. So let's take a look at what might go into a triple net lease. One way to start is to look at the cost that went into that triple net figure in prior history. So look at that building for the last 4 or 5 years. What were the costs that went into the triple net fees? Is it taxes, insurance, maintenance? Get a breakdown of those costs and see how they match up with reality of those costs. Obviously, property tax, that's going to be a given. Property insurance may be variable. Maybe your use of that building might affect the owner's property insurance. And if that's the case, it may go up, it may go down. If you think that property values are going to increase over the next few years, the property tax may go up. So look at those values to make sure that the triple net lease you're starting with, it's going to be about the same going forward, or if there will be differences, that you're aware of them. Also be sure that the owner is taking appropriate reserves for repairs that you know will be needed. For example, if an AC unit costs $50,000 and that's part of the triple net lease, you're essentially buying a $50,000 used air conditioning unit. And if it blows up tomorrow and that's part of your triple net lease, that fee and that expense will be passed along to you. So you want to make sure you're aware of how that's going to happen. Is it prorated over time? Is it prorated for prior depreciation? Or is it going to be divided up over 2 years and jack up your lease rate to a point that you might not be able to afford it? Look at the breakdown of that triple net lease and look to see, is there anything that shouldn't be there? Is there anything that shouldn't be within that triple net calculation that needs to be removed? Also look to see if there's anything missing, because if there's something that should be in that triple net figure that's not there, at some point in the future may be added and you might want to know about that. And that might be anything, like we said, for those reserves for air conditioning or any mechanicals really. You want to make sure that those are being accounted for as an expense. If it's a brand new building and it's been used for the last 5 years by another tenant, there may not have been any mechanical items that have failed during that time. If you're the second or third tenant and now all these things are going to break at one time, that might be something to keep in mind as far as the triple net figures. And then when it comes to maintenance, find out who actually does the maintenance. Is it an in-house person? Is it a relative of the building owner? Is it just one person who is relied upon, or is it a outsourced to a company that has different providers that can always be around? If it's just one person you're relying on, if they go on vacation, you may not get the repairs or the updates to the building that you need on time to keep your business running. And then check little things before you move in. Do the Cat5 network cables work? Do all the jacks work? Are the phone wires intact, or are they cut off at the end where the phone system used to be? Make sure that all the little things work so you don't run into hundreds or thousands of dollars in repairs to get it running. And then you may want to get some feedback from the prior tenant. It's pretty easy to find out who was using that building before. You may just want to ask the building owner and see how receptive they are to giving you that. Either way, you can find it out. So if the building owner doesn't provide you that information, that might be a key that there's some information that they don't want you to have. But either way, talk to that last tenant, get some feedback from them on how the building owner was to work with as a landlord, and also what the utility bills were like. Knowing how much the heating and cooling expenses are might be important to know. If the building is really inefficient for heating and it's cost $800 a month for a heating bill, that might be a problem in terms of your cash flow. So if you're a prospective prospective tenant looking at a triple net lease, make sure you check all the details, because you're buying into more than just a fixed rental payment. You're buying into everything that goes along with that building: taxes, insurance, maintenance, and that might be an impact on your business. You may be becoming a property owner without really even knowing it. So keep that in mind. Take a look at the details on your triple net lease and set yourself up for success as a company.